For moviegoers, when you hear the word spinoff, usually that just means money grab, and inevitably the spinoff is going to suck in comparison to the source that it came from. Off the top of my head, probably only U.S. Marshals, which was a spinoff of The Fugitive with Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones, was a semi-successful film. U.S. Marshals followed the character of Tommy Lee Jones, and which incidentally won him an Academy Award as Best Supporting Actor. And other ones like I guess you can't count Dumb and Dumber when Harry met Lloyd, since that was technically a prequel. I guess there was a Get Smart spin-off that I think went direct to video, and maybe even Catwoman with Halle Berry, but that wasn't exactly considered part of the franchise, so that might be a loose interpretation of spin-off. But we've seen spin-offs in like the X-Men franchise, where you have the Wolverine movies and the Magneto film, and obviously we got the upcoming Star Wars spin-off movies, Rogue One and the Han Solo and Boba Fett films. But who would have thought that someone would want to do a spin-off of the Rocky franchise? Now, the Rocky franchise is 6 films, and it has been countlessly ripped off, remade, parodied, satirized by countless other filmmakers and films, that the thought of a spin-off almost seems like a joke. And you wouldn't be far off to, or no one could possibly blame you that when you hear it's like, oh yeah, they're going to do a spin-off called Creed, that you're like, yeah, that's going to be stupid. But when you hear the pedigree behind it is Michael B. Jordan playing the son of Apollo Creed, and the film is being directed by Ryan Coogler, who did the fantastic Fruitvale Station. Now people will take note that there's something to this film, that maybe this actually could possibly be good. And, well, color me shocked that Creed ends up being the best Rocky film since the original. Yes, I say it is the best Rocky film in the original. Better than 2, 3, 4, 5, and Rocky Balboa. I was taken surprised by this film. It was so powerful, moving, engrossing, enthralling. Yes, it does involve Rocky Balboa, but this is a Adonis Creed story. This is Adonis Johnson's story. That just also involves Rocky Balboa, and we see the progression of Rocky Balboa's story as well, but this is very much Creed's story. Not just Creed, Adonis Creed, but also Apollo Creed and his legacy. It is such a good film that I was taken aback by just how good it was. It shouldn't surprise me that, considering Stallone pretty much wrote the previous 6 films, Rockies 1 through 6, and John G. Avildsen directed the 1st and the 5th, and Stallone did 2, 3, 4, and Balboa. And it was Rocky Balboa where at the time was the 2nd best film in the franchise, because it really brought it back to its roots. It was very well grounded, great dramatically, and it was a really solid conclusion to Rocky's story. It was a very touching and moving, fulfilling wrap-up to the franchise. But who knew that they could take it to the next level with his character, and it still proves to be just as compelling, just as relevant, and just as touching as Rocky Balboa was. Creed takes Balboa's story a step further, and Creed really introduces you to the world of Adonis Creed, and I am so glad that they did just that. The screenplay by Ryan Coogler and Aaron Covington, based on the story by Ryan Coogler, is very powerful, and as I said, powerful and touching. It's not just, it doesn't follow the Rocky formula per se. We all know the Rocky formula by now. He he's got to get into a fight. He's got to be the underdog, and he's got to overcome an obstacle, and then he's got to has the big fight at the end, and then he either wins or he loses, or something to that effect. And either he's going to win a moral victory, which is great, or he's actually going to win an actual victory that rah. It's like, yeah, go Rocky and all that stuff. And other films, like say The Karate Kid, pretty much copy that to a T to great effect. But Creed is different, where it per se follows the Rocky formula, but it's the first film in the franchise since the original to really give you real characters, real situations, and it's not formulaic. There may be a moment where it gets formulaic, but you can't carp because it is such a feel-good moment, and it's a great moment. So it's not something that takes the film down at all, or just ruins it, or takes you out of the film. You just buy into it because you're at that point where you're like so invested in these characters, not just the new characters, but Rocky as well, that you just want to see them succeed regardless of the outcome. And the story that they tell is truly compelling and very moving about a man who's trying to find himself, find his identity, live with his identity. He's a man who basically his father abandoned him, not because he left him, but because he died. Sorry if that's a spoiler, but I would hope most people have seen Rocky 4, or if you've seen the Creed trailer, you already know Apollo Creed had died. And he did not know his father, and he's feeling abandoned, and he lacks a father figure, and he's been getting into countless fights throughout his life. And Michael B. Jordan is fantastic as Adonis, Donnie, and you can really, really, really feel how he's just trying to find his identity, find out who he is, find his place in the world, and establish himself in this world that just keeps putting him down and holding him down and keeping him in check, not allowing him to rise to what he wants to be. Kind of like what Rocky Balboa had in the original Rocky, where he was just a guy off the streets of Philadelphia, and he had a great opportunity to take on the champ in Apollo Creed, and the rest is history. Jordan is fantastic, and Stallone. It's no joke. People are literally talking about Stallone being worthy of a supporting acting nomination in this one. It's easily his best dramatic performance. He was great in Rocky Balboa, but it's probably his best dramatic performance since Copland, and that was in the early 90s, I believe, or mid-90s. And he was great in Copland, but here we thought Rocky was great in Rocky Balboa, and the drama and his wisdom and his story was very engaging. But the next phase in Rocky's life is just as equally engrossing, and you just want to see what happened, what's going on. It's like you missed an old friend, you get to see him again, and you're like just following his story, and it's his best performance as Rocky Balboa since Rocky Balboa, and since the original Rocky. Probably the most well-rounded performance as Rocky since the original, I should say. The direction by Coogler is great. The film is 2:3:5 scope aspect ratio, the first one in the franchise to be that way, and it looks spectacular. The shot great. The fight scenes are fantastic in that aspect ratio, and the cinematography is really good. And the score also really great. But the performances, we also have Felicia Rashad playing Marianne Creed, and they even make her up to look like how she looked in Rocky 4, so you immediately make that recognition. And Tessa Thompson plays Bianca, who ends up being Adonis' girlfriend in the city of Philadelphia. But like I said, this is a spin-off. A spin-off is not supposed to be this good. A spin-off is just supposed to be like, whatever. It's like the poster behind me, Pulp Fiction. There was supposed to be a Vega Brothers spin-off, and that never happened. But could a Vega Brothers spin-off movie be as good as the movies that basically those characters appeared in Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs? I don't know. But this is a spinoff to a long-established franchise that's already had 6 movies, and it just injected new blood and new life into this franchise that I want to see Creed 2, 3, 4, 5, and Adonis Creed. And then what's next, what have you. But if that's not the case, if they don't plan on continuing the franchise, this is still a fantastic entry into the series. And it's a great drama, not just about boxing, but just about life and finding out who you are, trying to find a foothold in this world, and a fine drama about mortality and growing older and finding relevance and trying to do some good. It's just such a almost life-affirming film, and just a great movie. And there was a moment, I'm not spoiling anything, there was a moment in the film where it just all comes together, and you're like, wow. Wow. It was a fantastic moment. And it was later in the film, and I'm not going to reveal what it was, but when you see it, and you should see it by all means, see Creed. So I could gush on about Creed forever, but I'll just wrap it up and say I'm giving Creed 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. That is the second best ranking in the franchise for me. Rocky 1 obviously was a 10 out of 10. And probably my second favorite Rocky would have been Rocky Balboa, and I gave that an 8 out of 10. So yes, again, I'm saying this is the second best film in the franchise, and it's a spin-off. Rocky is maybe in half the movie, and it's a great film. Basically, if anything, you should go see this movie. I highly, 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 highly recommend it. You will be greatly surprised, and you're going to be blown away by just how good it is. So, Creed, 9 out of 10. The 7th film. How many 7th? Well, there's a 7th film coming out in a few weeks. Can that one be just as good? I don't know, but this is the 7th film in the franchise, and whew, 9 out of 10. Again, Creed, 9 out of 10. Definitely go see it. So, if you like my review, hit that like button below. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do, and so you can stay on top of the reviews as they come in. And so, what say you? Have you seen Creed? Have you heard of Creed? Were you looking forward to Creed? What are your thoughts on spin-offs? Can you possibly believe that this can actually be as good as we're saying it is? Let me know in the comments below. And like I said, the only thing I have to say right now is go see Creed. You'll thank me for it.